Программа предназначена к просмотру для лиц старше 12 лет.
Инди-игры – особый жанр или побочный продукт гейм-индустрии. Кто-то относится к ним скептически, другие ждут их победы над мейнстримом. Я готов доказать, что инди – это целый мир. И даже больше. Сан-Франциско. Кажется, что в этом райском местечке на севере Калифорнии никто не работает. Разве это реально с таким обилием пляжей и парков? Но гомоноид нашел ребят, которые совмещают приятное с полезным. Катает на скейтах и программирует игры. Инди-студия 3Flip. Погнали!
Sure. Hi there. My name is Rob Howland, and I'm Anthony Krzyzakowski, and we are two people out of three that make up 3Flip Studios. Anthony and I met at college, actually. We were both at the Art Institute of California, San Francisco, right here. And I was in the game design program, and you were in the... I was in the web program, so I actually have a little different background than most traditional game developers. And yeah, we worked together to make some websites, and eventually, after school finished, I was working on a project in Japan, like a language learning application, and I came to the Game Developers Conference to release it, and that's when we reconnected. This was after we had graduated. I went to SIGGRAPH in New Orleans and randomly wandered into an office somewhere that was supposed to be, and they were showing off some sort of new prototype for a trampoline controller, and I hopped on the trampoline, I was bouncing around, and some Japanese guy came up to me and he said something in Japanese, and I used my very broken Japanese on him at the time, and he was impressed, and he asked me why I could speak Japanese, and I said, well, I'm trying to get a scholarship to go to Japan and do research, and he said, oh, well, you should just do it at our school, and it kind of just built from there. So I wound up in Sugamo, which is a research hub, or the science city of Japan, as they call it. It's about an hour north of Tokyo. And while I was there, I wasn't sure what my research scholarship was going to be based around. But my professor, or sensei, told me that I should do something beneficial to society, and I should probably do something with the Unity engine. I had already graduated from game design school, but I didn't have any programming knowledge. So I thought, I should use this time maybe to figure out how to program. So I downloaded Unity and I started messing around with it. And since I was learning Japanese at the time, I decided to try and make something that was going to make learning Japanese more fun for me and everybody else. The way the sort of concept came about was the note card concept. Yeah, the flashcards that I had been placing them on all of the appliances in my apartment, on the wall, on the window, on the ceiling, and so I took that same concept and applied it to the game world and added pronunciations and transliterations to like hiragana and romaji. Yeah, and also part of that was you needed to develop something so they wouldn't kick you out of the country. That's very true. Even from the beginning, we had a big focus on we want real people and real human beings who speak that language, because when you're learning a language, it's not just about the words and the vocabulary, it's about the people and the culture. So you kind of have to understand some of the cultural references to understand the language as well. So it's very important for us to actually use the real human beings so you have the correct pronunciation on everything, and they can exemplify each letter or syllable of what they're saying. And that we made a very strong stance to never use any kind of like Google Translate or robots or something of that nature. I would say it's been a pretty huge success, just in terms of the fact that I've been able to focus on developing games as a professional career since it's been released. It's allowed me to unshackle myself from a 9-to-5 and be an independent game developer. Well, not only yourself, but it helped really start a foundation for our studio, and it was able to help support myself as well, and also with a little bit of our artist, Brandon Jones, which continues our success. Yeah, and because of Influent's success, now we've been able to start development on another project, Armed and Gelatinous. So that's kind of a key factor in the success of a game, is did it make enough to develop another game? And the answer is yes. So that's pretty cool. So Armed and Gelatinous was part of a game jam in Brisbane, Australia. And the original concept came from 3 words that were given to all the participants. And that was sticky, arms, and growth. So with those 3 words, the concept was developed to have these sticky little aliens that fly around and collect weapons. And when you stick to a weapon, it's fixed in that location. It cannot be moved. One of the other aspects of picking up weapons is that your blob will grow in size, so that's how growth was used. And then the weapons themselves are the arms, if you will. So that's kind of how the whole concept began. If you're going to make a single-player experience in a 48-hour game jam, you're going to have a really hard time making a lot of features and interesting content. But if you let the other players bring the fun to the table, it's something you can do in that amount of time in a multiplayer game. From there, the game was so much fun and brought people together in such a beautiful way that it just seemed silly to turn it into an online game or take it anywhere other than a couch competitive game.
So there's a strong thing about having all your friends together on a couch. The thing I often say is if you're getting trolled by somebody online, you're not going to have a good time. But if you're going to troll your friend sitting next to you, you guys are going to have fun.
Kickstarter and raised over 200% of the goal. That became a huge marketing tool to contact all of the people who were pledgers, and also use that as sort of a resource to point other people to and say, hey, like, this was a successful Kickstarter, and that instantly gets people excited.
Well, it allowed us to have a pool of people that were passionate about language learning. And then we were able to have a one-to-one conversation with them. And that really helped us out in the long run.
Then from there, I went on Reddit one night around Christmas that time, and
Reddit hug.
I went on to the R Gaming, and I said, hey, I made this cool little language game. I hope you guys like it, and just hit submit, and it is on the front page.
It crashed everything.
It destroyed us. It shut down the website. It shut down Playism. You couldn't buy the game. It shut down everything that we had going, and we didn't really know what to do. And then somebody in the comments said, look, everything's broken. Why don't you just make a Greenlight page and point everybody there? And so I did. I immediately went on Steam, created the Greenlight page, didn't even make a description, and just put the link on Reddit and said, everything's down, just go here. And it was greenlit in a week. So that was really cool. I think it was in like the top 100. It was maybe in like the 90s or something. And somebody from Steam, who used to be an English teacher, somebody at Valve, saw it. And he said, this is really cool. And he kind of handpicked it, and then it was on Steam. So,
and then transitioning into a little bit of Armed and Gelatinous, the things that we learned from Influent, we decided to kind of make or shape some of our own marketing, and we actually created a series called our Devcast. We have a YouTube series that we release videos as consistently as we can about overall life of development as a small indie studio. We'll film a lot of our adventures, a lot of our expos, just kind of a little peek behind the curtain. And we've done 5 episodes at this point. We're releasing 2 more episodes probably this afternoon.
Yep.
So I mean, we've gone, we went to Gamescom, we went to PAX Australia twice. We've been to GDC a number of times, and usually we have a film crew following us, and they'll film all of our adventures, good or bad.
I think high apple pie in the sky projects that are banking on the success of Armed and Gelatinous. But one of the main things I want to touch on is that Influent is far from finished. There's a lot of requests that have come in for more content, more areas to explore, conversations, basic phrases, days of the week,
grammar support,
counting. I mean, languages are very deep, and there's a lot more to them than just, flashcards and learning vocabulary. One of my personal ambitions, especially with the name Three Flip Studios, is to make a skateboarding video game. And I'm very adamant about doing this at some point in my life. And fortunately, I have some good news to report. I was just in Japan last month. We were putting on this big exhibition with a famous French artist, and we were going from Osaka to Tokyo and introducing them to all these skateboarding companies. And I met some very influential people in the skateboarding and action sports industry who talked to me specifically about the idea of maybe creating a new action sports video game, because they are very interested in getting people involved with action sports, and there's really no better way than video games. And I'll be the first to tell you that the whole reason I started skateboarding was because of video games. I was playing a game called 3 Extreme and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and I instantly wanted to know how to, Thrasher, Skate and Destroy. And I instantly wanted to learn how to do that and get a skateboard and ride around because of video games. And so there's a big push from these action sports companies to try and create that next big hit in terms of a skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing video game. And I want to be a part of that.
Well, especially right now, there's kind of a dip in any kind of skateboarding game, especially since there's not going to be probably a Skate 4 right now. The last Tony Hawk was let's just say that. So I mean, there's not a lot on the horizon at the moment for people to get excited. So I mean, something that we say a lot in our studios is low-hanging fruit.
There's one. I'll give him a shout out now. It's a game called Skate Lines. It's this development team out of Norway.
Yes, those are awesome guys.
I met them at GDC, and I think you did too.
Yes.
And they have a really cool skateboarding game on their hands. It's designed for mobile, and it's beautiful. Oh yeah, it's absolutely the future, and it's extremely important, at least in our eyes, and I think I speak for both of us.
Well, I feel also that people want risk and innovation and something interesting, and larger companies are less willing to take that risk. They want a solid investment, they want that return, and indie developers are able to take a little bit more of a risk and make some more interesting or compelling games, or even focus on areas, for example, language learning, or even, something such as like social anxiety or sexuality, or different terms that people the larger industry doesn't focus on whatsoever. And if they do, sometimes they don't do it very well, in my opinion. The console manufacturer
is an ARM. So that game really got me right here. It brought me back to when I first played Braid. That game as well. I played it in one sitting, start to finish, couldn't put it down. I can't really choose just one. It's really hard to just pick one, huh?
Yeah, anytime somebody asks me what's your favorite, I'm like, well, I'll give you my top couple of awesome things I enjoy in no order whatsoever.
I think for me though, it might be Braid, just because it was the first one that I played that felt to me like this brand new experience. Like I knew that it was made by just one guy, and it was him and the artist, right? But it was this indie team, and it was incredible, and everyone was talking about it, and it had these super secrets that I didn't find out about until a year later, and the whole thing really changed me in terms of what are we capable of as indies. I would go with Grid if I had to choose one.
I actually just had a conversation about this the other day.
Yesterday, right?
Yeah, a friend of ours that used to work as a Twitch streamer is now working for a VR company. And he kind of let me in on the fact that this particular VR company was interested in educational games. And they independently, he told me after the fact that he streamed Influent for us, a number of years ago, and he remembered it, and he pitched it to his company internally, and they actually built a small prototype with the Oculus Rift using Influent, and he's like, it works almost like out of the box perfectly. So that's definitely something that's on our minds, and that's something that we would be interested in supporting down the line.
Let me ask you a question about it though. Do you mean the concept of Influent applied to Google Glass, as in
like augmented reality type of situation?
As in when I look at the TV, it says TV,
and then it says and then it says like
That's actually a really good idea, and it's funny you say that because the storyline in Influent is based on an inventor who creates just that. So it's kind of set in that world where that technology exists. Ideally, yes, that would be the coolest thing ever.
Awesome, thank you for taking, giving us some extra time and everything this morning as well.
Yeah, it's good to meet you, and thanks for taking time to call us. Appreciate it.
Инди-игры – особый жанр или побочный продукт гейм-индустрии. Кто-то относится к ним скептически, другие ждут их победы над мейнстримом. Я готов доказать, что инди – это целый мир. И даже больше.